What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I'm here with Anthony, Lori, and Mike, and we are discussing episode 4 of Hawkeye. I'm gonna say I don't know if we're going in order because there's so many things about this episode that I really want to talk about. But first and foremost, the most important thing, my baby is in this episode. Yelena is finally making her appearance. I was so happy to see her. I'm so happy to see her. And talk about making an impact without saying a word. She came in, she did her damage, and she looked at Cake like, this ain't what you want.
She came in like Splinter Cell.
Yeah, exactly. She look like what's his name in
Splinter Cell?
No. Metal Gear Solid dude.
Silent Snake.
She was like all Silent Snake like with the goggles and the cover and like the hood and the mask and everything.
Now I know there was some speculation about who that character.
Sorry.
No, what you say?
Don't you mean Snake Eyes?
See, I was thinking that too, and I was like,
Solid Snake is in Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was some speculation that she might be another. Well, not her technically, but that character, the outfit and everything might be another character, but I couldn't remember who it was. But I was like, when I saw her fighting, I was like, okay, first of all, that's not a guy, because I thought it was a guy at first, and I was like, And then I was like, those moves look a little familiar. Then I was like,
she dropped two poses.
She did. She totally posed on two. She totally posed twice.
She did it twice.
And she didn't even take it off, so she's obviously gotten used to it.
Well, she was kind of there fighting the guy that she thinks is responsible for the death of her sister. So I don't think she was thinking about, oh, let me shake off this pose. She was like, let me kill him. And not just him. She was like fighting all three of them. She was fighting Echo, she was fighting Kate, and she was fighting Clint. And she was handling herself very well.
I don't know. It didn't seem like, to me, when Echo chimed in, they didn't. I don't know, maybe if I'm looking into this too much, but it didn't really seem like her. At one point, it seemed like her and Echo were fighting together. Like,
no, they were both fighting Clint, but they were fighting him for separate reasons, because when Echo kind of put herself into that fight, Yelena started punching and hitting her as well. Like, get off of him, that's mine. He's mine.
Yeah, Yelena punched her like once or twice in the face. So I was like, yeah, no.
She was very much like, bitch, get out my way. It did seem like
Yelena was holding back though.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like she was really, really trying to kill, because one, she hooked the hook on Kate and threw her over the ledge. So she wasn't trying to kill her.
I don't think her intent is to kill him. Like, even if she thinks that he's responsible for Natasha's death, given the fact that Natasha spoke so highly of Clint, especially if you watch Black Widow, I think she's gonna want to hear from him first. Like, okay, what happened? I think she'll give him that benefit of the doubt.
No, but she jumped him on the rooftop. She didn't come up. Hey,
right.
Hey, Clint.
Let's
but I mean, she could have killed him then. If she really wanted to hurt him.
Her wrist stunners didn't seem to be as effective as Natasha's were. Because usually, if Natasha hits you with those, you're down for the count. But she hit Clint bare skinned, and he pulled them off. And he hit Echo, and she was able to pull them off too. So either they're not,
and she pulled them off.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's like, so either they're not there. I mean, it seemed like they were not really set to incapacitate. Maybe her tasers were set to stun.
Like I said, nice one. Like I said, I think
2 video game references and the Star Trek reference.
Like, and we're not even 5 minutes.
We're on a roll, baby. We're on a roll.
But I think she probably wants to get some answers from Clint first, because and maybe this is just me. I mean, think about it. Clint was obviously very important to Natasha. Okay. So I think Yelena will probably be like, okay, you know what? Let me get the real story figured out, because Yelena, I think, especially after everything that we've seen of her in Black Widow, Yelena, I don't think is the type who's going to take one person's story and run with it. She has been in enough situations, dealing with Alexei, dealing with the Red Room, dealing with all of that to not be the one to say, oh, okay, this is what they're telling me to do, I'm going to go do it. She was part of that system for so long that, you know, they give you a target, you go after it. So I think maybe she's like, okay, let me see what's really going on, because obviously if Valentina and whoever she's working for or whoever is gunning for Clint, somebody wants him for a reason. She may want to find out what that reason is to make sure that not to say that she would be compromised, but I think she doesn't want to be somebody's weapon, kind of like Clint described here. You know, he talks about himself as being a weapon. You know, the right people pointed me in the right direction, and I just, you know, I did what I had to do. So I think maybe she's trying to say, okay, you know what? I'm not just going to blindly say, okay, I'm going to go kill him. I need to know what's going on so I can figure out what I need to do on my own. But I think she's going to whoop his ass a little bit by little bit just for kicks.
Okay, I was going to say, you know, one, she's the impulsive one.
Yeah.
So deal with that. And two, I find it hard to believe that she would just, this is her version of I just want to talk. I mean,
I can go along with that, actually.
I believe it.
And now I would believe it. I would go along with this more if in my head I can think that maybe she's trying to help him out in some way. Like that's why she shook her head to Kate instead of like, don't shoot me, just this isn't the time.
No,
like,
I think that head shake to Kate.
No, she was like, you're not. She was like, you're not gonna do it.
I know, but I could believe it if she was doing all this to make it look like Clint had some other people after him and not just him. So maybe to throw a little, you know, smoke screen. You know, we don't really know how these Black Widows operate. They are shady as fuck. So
yeah, but they also were shady because they were being controlled. And Yelena was one of the first ones to break free from that mind control. And I really think that she would probably right now be in a position where she's not going to let anybody tell her, oh, this is what you need to do. This is who you need to go after. I think she's going to make sure that what she's doing is she's doing it for the right reasons, because she's already done so much for the wrong reasons before. That's just my take on her character.
I still have a hard time believing whipping his ass was her way of saying, let's talk.
That was probably just for fun. Like, okay, even if I don't think you killed my sister, you were with her last, and I'm just going to beat you up just a little bit just because I need to get my aggression out. I mean, I could believe that about her.
Okay. Also, I need to know the timing of this. Like when did what's her name give her? When did Val give her the job? And how long has she been looking for him? Like, it didn't seem like it was when she got the job from Val. It didn't seem like it was close to Christmas time.
No, but it's been somewhere around the 6-month mark as far as from the time everyone came back from the blip to what's taking place now. It's been about 6 months or so.
Because a whole lot of mad theories went through my mind, of course, because I'm me. I was thinking, well, maybe
theories. Let me see.
Maybe. Okay, this is I have a major theory, but I'm not getting into it yet. I was thinking maybe Kingpin hired her. Then I was like, no, that doesn't really seem right, because Clint wasn't really involved in, or Echo hired. I think, did Echo hire her? No, I don't think this has, or Elena or Eleanor or Kate's mom. And I was like, well, no, because they didn't really know that Clint was involved, and she got hired a long time ago, like way before any of this happened. And Clint wasn't really involved in any of their stuff. Like, until,
I don't think they're I don't think the two things are related. I think it just happens to be that Clint because again, if you think about it, the whole thing was with what's going on with the Ronin suit and the tracksuit mafia and stuff. This all came to him by happenstance because Kate happened to be a little bit nosy, wanted to find out what Armand was doing, happened to come into this black market auction where the Ronin suit and sword were being auctioned, and along with the Rolex. That just all happened by accident, just from Kate being nosy. The whole thing with Yelena coming after him, totally different, because we know that that was something that was specifically set in motion by Valentina. So it just happens to be that this happens. And oh, by the way, he has found himself in another mess where somebody else is after him. And now I don't think he realizes that these are two separate things, because at this point, he's thinking everything is connected. And of course, if you have someone as powerful as Maya's uncle, who we still don't know who this is, but Clint, obviously, I feel like Clint knows who it is. Well, we know this, but we haven't been
he said big guy. Who else could he have been talking
They
about?
keep saying big guy, and like there's so many fat and big references all over this thing. It has to be Kingpin, unless it's the Blob.
Like, what was the name of that shop? Fat guy parlor, or
yeah,
fat guy?
exactly. The auto shop is fat man auto, auto repair. Fat guy auto repair.
I don't think Clint realizes that this is something separate. You know,
I don't think Elena was hired by anybody. I think she's just doing what she was supposed to do. I don't think anybody hired her.
Yeah, but it's like you would think that she would have had plenty of opportunities to get to Clint before now.
I thought that too. Like, it ain't like Clint's been hiding.
Right.
He's going to the most popular show on Broadway with his kids. Like, how hard would that be to figure out?
But if she has been aware of where he is for a while, maybe she left him alone because of the fact that he was with his kids. Remember, Yelena didn't have her family growing up. Like, the people that she thought of as family, she was ripped away from, and she grew up kind of bitter about the fact that this family that she cared about, you know, turned out to be fake. Seemingly didn't really think about her, you know, as far as her opinion goes. So maybe her seeing him with his kids hits a little differently for her. And she was like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to do anything to him while he has his kids. Now, he doesn't have his kids now. And we have to remember, these episodes are taking place day by day. So it's only been 2 days in this whole thing. They say it at the beginning of the episode on the radio. 3 days till Christmas. It's only been 2 days. His kids just went home. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think if we think about the way her character was in Black Widow and what could have happened, of course, again, we talk about the relationships in the show and how important they are. And not just in this show, relationships all throughout the MCU, like a lot of the actions and inactions of people have to do with the relationships. Maybe that's something that's factoring in for her, or maybe I'm just being a little over sentimental, you know, attributing that to her. Maybe she's just like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to toy with him and then I'm going to kill him.
Well, I think in my head canon, I believe that she found Clint. She was going to kill Clint, but then she saw him with his kids. It was like, okay, like you said, wait till he gets alone. But in the meantime, she looked into what happened, and somehow she finds out that he didn't necessarily kill her, but he didn't kill her sister, but her sister sacrificed herself. And so now she has mixed feelings. So she has to figure out, did he kill her? Did she sacrifice herself? What the hell happened? So maybe that's why she didn't, like you said, that's why she didn't kill him, because she needs to find out what really happened. And it's just like, I mean, it's just like where Echo didn't believe him, where he was speaking in metaphor, talking about, you know, the Black Widow killed Ronin and I was there, you know, and, you know, speaking in metaphor, in flowery speech and metaphor and symbolism. But it's like, I just think that they're like, I'm sure she's had plenty of opportunities to get Clint, but it's just didn't happen.
So you're saying I'm gonna have to go back to the first episode and freeze frame
Yes,
To see
you're
if
gonna have
she's
to go
lurking in the
back and
background.
look in Rogers the Musical and freeze frame the whole crowd because like Yelena's in there somewhere
No.
looking at him and
We're
picking
not
her
doing that.
shot. That's exactly what you need to do,
I'm not
Ann.
encouraging
Do
anyone
that
to
and
Honestly-
formulate theories and get back to me.
No, honestly, what I think is going on, because again, we have to think about it. When Clint and Natasha, when everything happened with them, they were on a whole other planet in a whole other time. I don't think he would have told anybody else except for the other Avengers exactly what happened on Vormir. Nobody else would have access to that information, but people would probably know, okay, he and Natalie went on a mission and he was the only one that came back. That information might not be hard to find out, but exactly what happened to her, like she just literally disappeared off the face of the earth. There's nobody for them to bury. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing showing where she is. So we just know that she's dead based on whatever information they put out there. Nobody really knows what happened to her. So I think maybe for Yelena, it's not enough that, okay, I was told my sister is dead. Like maybe she believes it in her heart, but if it were me, I wouldn't just take somebody's word about what happened to my sibling, especially if there's not a body there. You know, I want to know what happened. Like you're going to sit down, you're going to tell me exactly what happened. And of course, that fight that they had on the rooftop wasn't exactly the prime time for them to be speaking, because one, he was on lookout for someone else. So she already knows that he's not alone. And then for Kate to come in, and granted, she got her ass whooped a little bit, but she was holding her own for quite a while. He's not by himself. He's not with someone that's going to be easy for her to just, push to the side. And then you have this other person in Echo also coming after him. It was just kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to find out what I need to find out for now, but I just need y'all to know that I am here and I'm making my presence known. But yeah, I don't think her goal is to kill him right now. I think really she wants to know what the fuck happened to her sister. And she's going to find that out before she does anything with him. Now, what she does with him afterwards, that'll depend on how much she believes him, because I feel like we know that Clint did not get a chance to see her face, because when he pulled the mask off, that's when she hit him with the stunners and he went down. So he never saw her face. I'm pretty sure.
Not this guy. He sees everything. He saw her face.
You think?
Yeah, he saw her face.
I don't know. I don't know if he saw her face, because I would
and
think
if anything,
that
he probably knows. He knows it's a Black Widow. He probably knows exactly who she is.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because I would assume if he saw her face, and I'm pretty sure Nat told him about Yelena, told him about everything that happened, whatever. So if he gets a good look at her, he probably knows who she is. And then, I mean, Clint's a pretty smart guy. I mean, we kind of learned a little bit more about him in this episode too, but I think he knows, okay, you know what? Yeah, this is something I'm going to have to deal with. But again, right now, he doesn't know that Black Widow is there for him because of Natasha. He thinks that whoever is after them and affiliated with Jack and the Tracksuit Mafia, he probably thinks they were the ones who sent her.
Yeah, he saw her face.
You think did you freeze frame?
I did not freeze frame, but he saw her face.
You rewinded though. You rewatched it, didn't you?
I fast forwarded to
okay.
100% did.
No freeze framing.
So yeah,
I'm just gonna point out that it may not have been any one of those that sent her. It could have been Mom. Remember, Mom did make a phone call.
this is true, but I kind of felt like I don't know.
I know. I still feel like she was pulling. I know she was pulling her punches. It didn't really seem like she was trying to kill anybody.
Yeah,
but I don't think Mom hired her. I don't think anyone hired her. I'm like Hanako in that respect. I do think she wants more information
about what happened to her sister.
About what happened, and knowing her character now, she wouldn't kill Clint without really knowing what happened, because he has a family, and we know how she feels about that. He has a really little son, and she knows this. She's not going to kill him.
Right. And like I said, she knows he was important in that. And I mean, think about it.
And that Nat was important to him too.
Yeah, because Clint was the one who got her out of the red room. He got her out of all of that. And they
you remember
fought side
Valentina
by side for years.
Valentina didn't say he killed her.
Mm-mm.
He said he was responsible for her death.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing about these Marvel shows. You have to really pay attention to what they say and what they don't say. Because other than that, if you're not paying attention, you're just gonna, oh yeah, you know, she made her think that he killed her. No, that's not what she said. Her words were very specific, and they always are in the MCU. They always
the man
are.
who was responsible for your sister's death. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So we'll talk
But
about her a
technically,
little
that
bit
was
later.
Thanos was responsible. Technically, but you know.
We'll talk about that.
Shout out to the prop people for Clint having a Thanos was right mug.
That mug bothered me the whole episode. I was like, why is he drinking from? And not only that, it wasn't his mug. It was Kate's aunt's mug because they're in her apartment. I'm like,
I gotta get me
why is he?
Thanos was right mug.
No, you do not.
That's an awesome mug. I want one of those too.
Okay, so
that's the second time we've seen that with Clint that he's seen Thanos was right.
Yeah.
Shout out to What If.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's talk about Jack and Eleanor.
They were so cute.
Yeah, until Eleanor was just like that whole scene with her showing Clint out, like talking about Natasha. I wanted to reach in the TV and slap the shit out. Ooh.
I'm surprised he didn't punch. Well, okay, so let's talk about it. So we pick up after where we left off in the last episode with Jack, you know, holding the Ronin sword to Clint, because of course Clint is in their penthouse and they don't know who he is, or they don't know how he got there. I find it funny that Jack, being the I guess I don't want to say fighter, but being the I guess I would feel like Jack, especially knowing what we know about him and his tie into the Tracksuit Mafia, Jack knows some shit about some stuff. So the fact that you have an Avenger, you know, in your house and you don't even recognize him, that was kind of weird to me. But then, you know, of course, Eleanor comes in and she was like, why is there an Avenger standing in my penthouse? You know, whatever. So
you are the archer. Like,
I was like, this dude is so fucking fake, it's ridiculous. And even with the whole question and answer session, okay, so yes, Mike.
I think Mike has a theory.
I have a theory. Okay, so with this scene, with him acting as usual, his little happy-go-lucky kind of just
fake,
aloof, uninterested, and like, yeah, there's that, the way he called him the archer, I was like, yeah, really? Okay, that was suspicious to me. And then when we get to where they break into Echo's apartment, what he said about who the watch belonged to, it kind of blew a couple of other theories. Like I thought it was Tony's watch at first, and I came up with a whole thing about Kingpin buying Stark Towers, and he needed a watch to get into a certain room and get something, blah 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 blah. But then Clint said that the watch belonged to somebody who was deep undercover, and that if they found it, if it was found, then he would be found out, and then he would be killed.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he say the person had been deep undercover?
It belongs to. He said it belongs to someone I used to work with, they've been out of the game a long time, but their identity is still attached to that watch.
Right.
And if the tracksuits found out about it, then it will blow his cover.
So it's a person who's back in their regular life after being in that life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
that's,
yes.
That's
It's
someone.
Someone who was or who is so undercover that they pretty much assume the identity. It's just like with what's his name in Smoking Aces becoming the gangster.
Mm-hmm.
So my theory is that the watch belongs to Jacques. And because there is history in the comics that Jack and Clint know each other and they've trained together and da 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 da. There's proof that there's actual canon for that. So I think that when Jack went to the auction before, he actually knew that the watch was there, and he wasn't really there for the Ronin suit or any of that other shit. He was there for the watch, and he knew that in his association with his uncle, who is beefing with Kingpin, and who ends up getting killed. I think that within all that is Jack was trying to get the watch because they were after the watch because somehow they knew that something was up with his uncle or someone associated with his uncle was coming after them. I mean, maybe he's a sleeper agent and he was activated and they were like, okay, we need you to go ahead and take care of this. So I think that the watch belongs to Jack, and that's the way that he's going to be activated as the swordsman.
I don't know if I got to think on that. I don't know if I buy that one.
I'm having a hard time wrapping.
I think
my
that's a
head
stretch.
around that one, right?
I think that's a stretch.
All my theories are stretches until I pop a tendon, but that's Beyond Zebra. Look, I'm just saying that it's really. I mean, we all know that Jack is holding back. We all know that we already know that in the comics he is the swordsman. He's an adept swordsman. He was kind of a spy, but not really. And I just think I really think that the watch is his and is something that can tell people who he is. And I'm just getting that feeling from it, like from when Clint said that, I was like, huh.
But I think the thing we have to remember too, because you keep referring to his character in the comics, we have to remember the MCU changes a lot of stuff from what the comics are supposed to be to what's in the show. So he may not even have that persona in this show once we're done.
The watch belongs to the mom.
I'm sorry, ma'am. You have to preface that.
Well, in the comic books, mom.
Nope. You have to say four words.
I have a theory.
Thank you. Now you may proceed.
In the comic books, mom works for Madame Mask, and she's also an Avenger, and she's also a vampire. So mom is technically evil, good, evil. So I think that the watch belongs to mom.
It's kind of a big watch, though.
But
it's like a man's watch.
It is a man's watch, but two, also, I didn't get the feeling that Eleanor and Clint knew each other. And he specifically said that the watch belonged to someone he used to work with. Someone that he cares about enough that he doesn't want that identity revealed. So I don't know if
Mom had facial surgery to change the way she looks from when she was younger in the comic books.
Yeah, again, you guys keep going to the comic books.
This is all based on comic book. Even if it's not taken word for word, there's still basis in the comic books. I'm not saying that it's going to be. Neither is Lori. But we're saying that there is a basis to formulate a theory as to whose watch it is. Exactly. And there's proof.
I'm just appreciating the fact that Hanako listens, and that's all I'm gonna say. She has learned very well.
All I'm saying is that everything that we've seen in these 4 episodes, And that phone call that the mom made, we might want to pay a little bit more attention to mom, because I believe that mom is a little bit more involved with these things than we know of. And I still think she killed the dad.
Oh,
I think
of
mom was
course.
calling. I think mom was
Mom
calling
calling the
uncle.
shots.
I think
Huh?
mom
Yeah.
was calling uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very clear.
Mom's working directly under uncle.
Exactly.
I think
She either call uncle or Val. I think somewhere in there Val got called either by her or by uncle.
I don't know. I don't know if I feel like Val is part of this yet, but I do feel like even if you go back to the first episode when Armand was having the conversation with Kate about Jack and Eleanor's engagement, he was very much against it. And I think he felt like, I have to go back and rewatch the first episode, but it sounded like he was trying to imply that either Eleanor was marrying him for what he might inherit, or he was marrying Eleanor for what he might get from her. But something about that relationship is strange. And I mean, even in that little cutesy moment that they had in the penthouse where they're doing the dancing and stuff, it felt forced to me. Yeah, it was cutesy. It was, we see Kate looking at her mother, and that was kind of weird because you could see her kind of soften towards her mother in that moment. She was like, I've never seen you like this. It still felt so weird watching them interact. And I mean, especially with just Jack, just, oh, honey, are you serious? Fake. But Eleanor, I don't know. There's something about her. Like, I think in some ways she does care about Jack, but I also feel like there's something more going on there, especially the fact that she keeps telling Kate, hey, can we change the subject? Hey, can you back off of him? It's almost like she's trying to pull Kate away from it so that she can continue to do whatever it is that she's supposed to be doing. And
this is the issue. This is the issue I have with the majority of the stuff that we're talking about. Like, yeah, we have uncle and we have, Kate's mom and Jack and Armand and whatever else they were hung up in. And I keep hearing two people in the back of my mind talking. And one of them is Nolan talking to Mark about, why are you bothering with all this street level stuff, right? Why are you, we have bigger things.
That's an Invincible reference for those who don't watch the show. Yeah.
The other one is Tony talking to Peter about the same thing. Just go back to being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Don't worry about all this big stuff yet. You're not ready for that. And here we have Clint, the man who fought Thanos. He's here with all these little things that if it wasn't for the Ronin suit, he wouldn't be within 1,000 miles of this stuff.
Nope. So
it's just funny to see that this is happening. I hate to say it's happening to him, but it's just really, really strange that he's having to deal with this when there's a much bigger picture. After seeing Eternals and Shang-Chi, there's other things to worry about other than some big ass mob boss who can lift 1,000 pounds.
Right. But I think
all he's concerned about is making money.
Yeah. But I think the thing with Clint is, you have this kid, who, for all of her good intentions, she's still very wet behind the ears, because again, this was not something she didn't. I was about to make that. I was about to say she didn't choose the superhero life. The superhero life
chose her.
It's like she did. This was not what she thought was going to be happening with her life 2 days ago. She was just.
She had this glamorized idea of what it meant to be Hawkeye.
Right. Yeah. And she really learned a hard lesson in this episode, even just sitting there talking with Jack and her mom after Clint leaves, and they make this statement about, it's a good thing about, it's good to be here with family instead of being alone for the holidays. And, Eleanor said, I'm so glad I have you two here and we're not alone. And you could see that wistfulness take root in Kate, because she's like, wow, I'm sitting here with my family. Granted, she may not like the family that she's in. I'm sure she loves her mother, Jack, sketchy. So, but there's still some sense of family. Meanwhile, Clint is going home or going to somebody else's apartment to put frozen alcoholic drinks on his bruises because he's old and he's bruised and he's doing what his wife told him to do. Speaking of which, okay, it is totally in my head canon now that Clint and Laura met while they were in super spy school, and that's how they got together, because the fact that he's calling her and she's looking up things for him and she's speaking to him in Russian so the kids don't understand. I was like, oh, she totally was she was either an Avenger or she was in SHIELD or something happened.
Maybe that's her watch.
I still think it's a guy's watch. It's
a guy's watch.
I mean, it's a guy's watch, but maybe it's related to her.
Yeah,
I mean, it has a transmitter and it's still transmitting. She knew how to find it.
Yeah. So again, I have some questions about Miss Laura Barton.
I'm starting to have questions about her too.
I think she probably was in SHIELD because, I mean, think about it. That's where he started.
That's how they would have met.
Yeah, and that's how he started. So that's where Fury.
That's what I think she probably was in SHIELD. That's a great theory, Ann. I love that theory. That's
not
awesome.
a theory.
That was 100% a theory.
And that was my theory, actually. So
I'm sorry, Hanako. That was a great theory.
I just piggybacked on what Hanako said.
But yeah,
it wasn't a theory. Even when Hanako said it still wasn't a theory. So I don't know.
It's kind of a theory. I mean, we don't really know for sure that she was with SHIELD. I mean, it makes sense. It's a good theory that she was with SHIELD. That's the way she knows how to do research on targets and things of that nature. And she knows how to.
She can uncover shell corporations and all that stuff.
Right. Exactly.
And
so
it also
and she knew the frequency of the transmitter.
And it also explains why she's so supportive and understanding with what he does. Again, like, she knows he's not coming home tonight, and she doesn't pitch a fit or anything. She just, hey kids, dad has to work a little bit, dad's got to stay at work a little bit longer. Now the kids are starting to get disappointed, but at the same time, they're still not pitching fits and being mad and all this other stuff. We'll probably see that later. But
what's a theory?
What
would be a theory, if there was a theory, would be that is actually Clint's watch. And that watch was a part of their operation to hunt down Natasha. And Laura was his handler on that operation.
Oh, that would be a nice. Okay.
But if I was one to come up with theories, that would be.
That's a good. I mean, you basically just came up with one.
I'm saying if I were to do that, that's
All right, OJ.
And so that's why he would still have the watch. Think about it, the things that are important to him would be the watch, which is connected to his wife, and the Ronin suit, which Natasha talked him out of. Those things are important to him.
Yeah. So,
and he's involved in all this mess because he has a big heart and he doesn't want Kate to get hurt. And in order to keep her from getting hurt, he's going to have to dismantle a criminal organization.
The criminal white patriarchy, criminal white male patriarchy.
In a white suit.
Not just male, because Echo is still pretty big up there.
I mean, her boss is a white male, so it's like it's still the same.
She's like
the same thing.
Yeah.
But I'm totally thinking that Laura was part of SHIELD. She had to be, because think about it. Everything that we've seen of her before this series, she was just the mom. She was the stay-at-home mom. She was the supportive wife. She was the one giving him the pep talks, about make sure that these people are going to have your back, and basically let him know, yeah, you're important too. Yeah, you don't have superpowers, or you don't have magical abilities or whatever everybody else has, but you are very important to this group. And she's been there. But for him to be like, hey, can you look this up and can you do this? And then her to do that whole blah, 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 blah. I was like, wait, what?
And she speaks fluent Russian. That was
Fluent.
fluent.
But
Was it
some-
Russian or was it Russian or whatchamacallit?
I think it was Russian.
It was
It was
German.
Was it
It was-
German?
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I thought was
closed
German.
caption says German.
Well, that doesn't make it any better. She speaks fluent German.
like
That
all of a
doesn't change
sudden.
anything.
But you know what? I'm glad that they are giving her a little bit, that they are fleshing her character out a little bit more. Because yeah, everybody loves her because of who she is. I mean, just one is Linda Cardinale. I mean, we love her anyway.
I
But
mean,
the fact
Jinkies.
that, yeah, right. But I mean, the fact that they are actually giving her character something more to do than just be the doting wife waiting at home for him and taking care of the kids. I like that they're adding a little bit of mystery to her character and maybe, you know, fleshing her out to be something a lot more interesting than that, not just, you know, the person that's waiting on Clint. I like it. But yeah, that's totally my headcanon now. They met in S.H.I.E.L.D. and that's how they got together. And you know, of course, if they were both in S.H.I.E.L.D., especially if they're having children, having two people, two married people in S.H.I.E.L.D. together doesn't work. I mean, look at Hunter and Bobby from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That never worked for them. And how many times did they go on missions together and get married and get divorced and get back together? It just doesn't work. So maybe she was like, okay, you know what? You go do the stuff. I'll go do this stuff. And I'll just still kind of, you know, play with things behind the scenes. And now we're just getting a chance to see the behind the scenes stuff.
I personally, at one point, only watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just to watch those two.
I think a lot of people watched just for
Yeah.
Bobby and Hunter. So
Because they were so
good.
But yeah, I think you're right though. I think that the thing with her is that she probably was either with Shield or maybe she was with Sword or she was involved somehow.
Mhm.
And I was sort of giggling when I was watching this, and I was like, "Oh, that's actually kind of cool," because a lot of people do meet their spouses either and or around work or through someone maybe they know from work,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So it makes perfect sense. It was adorable. When we get to the LARPing section, I have a rant.
Okay, you know who that watch could belong to? That
Oh.
watch could be Coulson's.
You know what? That's not a bad theory. Now you forgot to
Yeah,
say
it
it though.
could
You have to
be.
say it. You have to say I have a theory.
Well, I don't even know if I want to call it a theory. It was just something that popped in my head when we were talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I was like, who else would have like a Rolex besides like Tony would have it because he's Tony Stark. Coulson would have it for like a whole totally different reason. Like that watch probably belonged to the first scroll that showed up on Earth 50. You know what I'm saying? He would have it for a totally different reason. And
Right.
Phil was not the type of person who, if he had those kinds of things, that he would show those off in that sense. Like he would have it there, but it would be in a way that unless you were really interested in what he has, you wouldn't pay attention to it. Think about all the stuff he had in his office, you know, important stuff that to a casual person, they're just looking like, oh, he's just collecting junk. No, he's collecting some really important things. I mean, think about Lola. You just look at it as a really, really nice car until you realize that she can convert and she can fly and she can do all this other shit. So
True.
I don't know. I'm just thinking, okay, I have a theory. Maybe the watch belongs to Coulson. Maybe Clint is the only person who knows what's going on with Coulson and knows that Coulson has died and been brought back and died again and is back. And I mean, who knows? That would be a nice way to bring Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in, but don't even get me started on that journey. But
there is another slight thing about Laura that some people have put forth, but I'm really iffy about. But if it's true, then it makes sense about how she's acting.
mhm.
And some people are saying that she could actually be Mockingbird or a version of Mockingbird.
Okay, so for those of us who are not familiar, who is Mockingbird?
Actually, that would make a lot of sense.
So originally, if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Bobby Morse was Mockingbird.
Oh yeah. Okay, because I was gonna say it's not familiar, but
right.
Okay.
So she's agent of Shield. She fights, ironically enough, sometimes with two batons, like two electrically charged batons, like Natasha did.
Okay.
But there is a compelling case that she could be like Mockingbird could just be a code name that is passed on to people, like when someone retires. If Mockingbird, it's just like 007.
Kind of like 007. Okay.
When 007 retires, someone else becomes 007. So and we know that Bobby Morse has retired. Like she's like, I'm out. That's what happened, right? When she was Agent of Shield, she just got out. So yeah, I mean, it's absolutely possible that Laura could actually be the new Mockingbird.
Okay.
And it'll make sense because she knows how to look stuff up, and she's acting kind of Shield-like with all the stuff that she's doing. Well, like, Shield-like-ish. But yeah, I mean that's kind of a off the wall possibility, but it's still, you never know.
Okay. That's
It'll be awesome. It'll be awesome if we see Skrull Fury like knocking on her door. It's like, is Clint all right? Okay, we need you.
Yeah, and you also need to remember too that with the new phase of the movies with the Skrulls coming, Mockingbird was one of the main ones that had been for years on Earth pretending to be human, but she was a Skrull.
Ah.
Ooh.
Okay.
What, you guys forgot that?
What?
Well, I'm talking to Mike.
Mike, you're muted.
That Mockingbird was a Skrull?
Mm-hmm. Remember when they came back from Planet Hulk and they all came off of the ship and stuff, and they came out of the ship and she was one of the first ones there, and it was revealed that she was a Skrull?
I missed that part.
But see, the thing with that, Lori, is if we go down this path, do you remember how many people were Skrulls?
Yes. Like 900,000 of them.
We're not going to go down this path.
It was a
not
lot.
Just yet. Let's save this for Secret Wars.
Was it on the scale of the Cylon reveal in Battlestar Galactica?
Actually, it was bigger.
It was bigger
because they look, at one point they did a spoof where Howard the Duck was a Skrull. Okay, so it was big.
It was big.
Actually, okay, see that I remember. Of course.
Of course, you will remember that.
What?
Okay.
But yeah. So I mean, anything's possible at this point. So, I mean, the watch could be part of Armor Wars. It's like it could still be some kind of tech where it can like.
Anthony is like, no, we're branching off into different timelines again.
That's right. We're going past the threshold, and
it's
we're going
okay,
past
Anthony.
the threshold.
It's okay. Let him have his daydreams and his theories.
I already told you. It's like as soon as I saw Uncle in the last episode, I'm all in on my theories. I'm throwing them out. I'm giving them away like turkeys at Thanksgiving. Just like, here, you have one. You have one. You have a theory. You have a theory. Everybody has a theory.
I do like the fact that this little theory discussion did bring up some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because we haven't had a chance to talk about that. Like Lori and I talked about it last year, and then everything just started happening. So the fact that we actually get to bring them up, and the fact that also Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was trending yesterday on Twitter, just like out the blue. I'm glad we had a chance to at least bring a little bit of that in there.
Because everybody, because it's possible that Laura could be a new Mockingbird. It's absolutely possible.
Well, that's my headcanon. So, she and Clint met at S.H.I.E.L.D. and she's got some skills. So I hope we get to see a little bit more of that. But let's get off the theory train and get back to the episode. Okay, so Kate.
How are you feeling about Kate right now?
I liked her in this episode. I think what she did for Clint as far as the Christmas thing and watching them bond and her not being as annoying, like it felt very natural. It felt like a very natural progression of, I won't necessarily say a friendship, but it does seem like it is about to be like a mentor-mentee type relationship. And I like the fact that even though she was her usual self in this episode, she knew where her boundaries were in this episode more than anything. Like, you know, the little cutesy stuff with them going back and forth talking to her mom and Jack, that was cute. It was funny. You know, she wasn't overly annoying, but at the same time, it's kind of like when her mom was saying, she was like, you know, Kate was obsessed with Hawkeye. And if you think about that, then her behavior in the first episode makes total sense. I admit that, but she did, it was a little bit overboard for me, and she did get on my nerves. In this episode, though, you see her like really asking him questions and really thinking things out. And like he said, you know, your ability to think like a grown-up gets you what you want. Like, she knows when to act childish, and she knows when she has to stop and like start thinking differently. And you see that in this episode with them at Christmas, and also the whole plan of them sneaking into what ends up being Echo's apartment. That was it was cool to watch, just kind of see her. I don't know if I want to say her character is evolving, but you can kind of see the maturity happening with her character. Like, she's taking things a little bit more seriously. She's considering things now. She's not just making like stupid comments or stupid remarks. Like, she actually is putting some thought into the things that she's saying and the things that she's doing. And her taking into consideration the fact that, again, Clint is away from his family because he's trying to help her get out of a mess that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So for her to go over, spend Christmas with him, and also strategize about the things that they are dealing with and what they're doing, that was fun to watch. Him doing the little trick with the coin. Again, this is one of the things. This is one of the things I like about Clint, because he's sitting here talking to her. He's trimming the tree, and he's just telling her, "Yeah, I can knock someone unconscious with this, blah blah." And again, Clint is one of those characters where he's never intentionally funny. It's just some of the stuff that he says comes out that way, and he's just looking like, oh, okay. He's never intentionally funny, but he ends up being funny. I loved seeing him in this scene. It was just very nice to see him kind of get out of that Avengers mindset of worrying about what's going on, just kind of relaxing for even a little bit. That was fun to see. The little thing with the coin to the TV, I said at the TV, like, okay, I know Clint has like precision accuracy, and I think it was Mike, you said something about, because I wondered about his precision, I think on another podcast we did, or we were talking in general, or maybe it was Anthony talking about how with the way he shoots, he actually, there's something about what he can do that makes him very precise, to the point where he can even curve his arrows to hit his target. Like, it's not a superpower, but it's something, I don't know if it's a mental thing or what, but whatever he can do is awesome. I was impressed. And then the fact that
I mean, it's just like it's just like Steph Curry. It's like a lot of people can shoot a basketball. Some people can shoot it from a little further back. But it's like, you know, you have to be like special, like Steph Curry special, to shoot and have it and be specifically like in tune to know, okay, I have to put this much pressure on it in order for it to go through without hitting the rim. And it's like, there's certain players, there's certain people that have certain characteristics that allow them to see things differently.
Did you see the video of him shooting the ball from the fan tunnel and hitting it?
Yeah, he does that. He does that before every game.
Oh my God, I've never seen that before.
That's part of it. That's part of his ritual. Yeah.
Wow.
I live out here. We see it all the time.
Yeah, Steph Curry's a monster, but it's just like Clint. It's like Clint can actually, like, if he sees when he draws and he sees the target, he can actually, like, okay, I know it's going to go there. I can look over here. I mean, it's just like all the no look shots that he's hit throughout his time in the MCU. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, because he knows where the arrows are going to go, because that's where he does, because his bow is weighted properly and his strings are at the proper weight, where he knows if I pull it back this far and hit, it's going to go exactly right there. So I mean, it's all about knowing. He just has a feel for it.
Well, not only that, the thing is that a lot of people who do archery, they put a lot of pressure on themselves because I don't know if you guys have ever like handled like a really heavy archer's bow, but those suckers are heavy. I've got one in the living room right now. That thing has to weigh at least 100 pounds.
Why am I
And
not surprised?
I've got the whole thing. But the thing is that so we're in archery, big deal. Anyway, but those things are heavy, right?
I
So
mean,
you
Kate even said it. She was like, "How do you maneuver the bow?" And he was
Right.
like, "Mine's collapsible." She was like, "That makes so much sense."
Well, yeah, because you really got to get the tension on the bow. And the thing, what I'm trying to say is that you develop over time muscle memory. And not
Mhm.
only that, you've got to be very, very precise because I don't know how many of you guys have ever shot an arrow before, but if you're not careful, you can rip your fingers to shreds. Because
Mm.
when you're pulling back on the bow, you can't see me. I don't know why I'm gesturing. You can't see me. But when you're pulling back on the bow, you've got to be very, very careful, right? Because you
Mhm.
can shred your fingers, you can cut tendons in your hand, your arm has to be a certain way. And over time, you just can't pick up a bow after, say, a year and be proficient. You've got to work on that thing at least 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. I mean, that's why kids who are archers in archery, they start them out like 5, 6 years old. So by the time you're his age, plus don't forget, Clint was in the circus, so he learned balance from being an acrobat. Plus, he was a thief. He just has those skills. Now, unlike in DC with Roy Harper, aka Red Arrow, aka Arsenal, who
Mhm.
was a meta, who would literally his entire body, every part of his body, and anytime he picked up anything, became a weapon. Over on the Marvel side, Hawkeye basically trained himself to be this way.
Mhm.
Okay, end of my nerd rant, and I still have a thing about LARPs.
We'll get to the LARPs. Um, the other thing about this whole bonding with him and Kate is when the conversation takes that serious turn, because again, Kate kind of has this hero worship thing with Hawkeye. And we saw it a little bit in the last episode too, where he was like, "I'm not anyone's role model." Like he's trying to like really put that in her head that this is not a glamorous job. There's some cool things about it, but there's some dangerous things about it too, and there's some risk. And I have to say, whatever you think about Jeremy Renner's acting, anytime Clint talks about Natasha, you feel it. You absolutely feel it. Like that whole scene, I think they're kind of going back and forth, just asking questions, or Kate is asking questions about him. And she was like, "Okay, best shot you took." And he says, "It's not about the best shot I took, it's about the shot I didn't take." And he kind of tries to back off because he realizes in that instant, oh, this is about to be a heavy conversation. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to do it. And then instead of her pestering him about it, when he says, it's not a good story, she kind of backs off like, oh, okay, it is a serious thing. She backs off, and just like, okay, so we are back after some slight technical difficulty. So we're going to try to finish our conversation about Hawkeye episode 4. So we were talking about the conversation that Clint was having with Kate when he was talking about Natasha and his mission to go, and about how he was actually supposed to go and kill her. And he says that when it came time to do it, he couldn't do it because he felt like she wanted out. He could sense it, and he was right. And it was like the best call that he made, because of course, this is the person that eventually became his best friend. And he doesn't say her by name, but Kate figures out who he's talking about. And she's like, "I'm sorry." And so that's when he says, it's just part of this job that I have. When you do the job that I do, the game is learning to live with loss. And it's like one of those things where I don't really think that I don't think he's trying to discourage her, just trying to discourage her, but he sees that she's very impressionable when it comes to him and being an Avenger and all of this other stuff, the superhero stuff. And we even see it later on in the episode when they're, scoping out Echo's apartment and he's trying to tell her the plan, and instead she goes and she does her own thing. Like, I feel like she has some good instincts, but I also feel like she is not really looking at things. Like, even with the danger that they've been in the last couple of days, I still feel like she doesn't really get it yet. And I think this conversation, Clint is really trying to get her to see, okay, look, yes, there's some good parts about this, the trick arrows and, these sorts of things, but there's also some really, really hard parts about being a superhero. And I don't think, I mean, let's be honest, I think maybe if Clint could go back to when Fury recruited him, knowing what he knows now, he'll probably be like, hell no. But then I think part of him would still do it though, even knowing all the heartbreak that comes, even knowing the people that they'll lose. I think he'll still do it because I think, just like Natasha was always talking about, erasing the red in her ledger, I think in a way Clint is trying to do that too. He talks about it in this episode where he was trained to be a weapon, and she was like, you were a hero. He was like, no, I was a weapon. It just happened to be that the people who were trying to do good were the ones telling me what to do. He said, but my job was to hurt people, interrogate first, but ultimately my job was to hurt people. That has not changed. I mean, and he even speaks about it in present tense. This is what I do. This is who I am. Yeah, I did some hero stuff, but when you think about it, my job is to hurt people. That is what I was trained to do. That's not necessarily a hero trait, But again, I just think this conversation, like I said, I'm starting to like her character a little bit more because I feel like she's starting to pay attention and she's starting to think about the consequences of everything that they're doing. And as you see at the end of the episode, when they have this big fight with Echo, once they realize they're in Echo's house, and she sees the notebook where Echo has notes on Laura and Connor and Lila and Nathaniel, it's like, oh, this just got a little more dangerous because now they know he has a family and they know who his family are. So I don't know. I'll have to see how I feel about her by the end of this episode. We only have 2 episodes left. I mean, by the end of this show, because we only have 2 episodes left. But I think she's really starting to get it. And if she continues to do the things that she's doing now, like she's starting to think a little bit more, she's showing a little more compassion. She still has a little bit of what makes her her. She does have this kind of, I don't want to say innocent way of looking at the world, but she's very, I don't know, she's very joyful. She's very positive. She's very, like her mom says, she has a lot of confidence. There's never been anything wrong with Kate in that area. So I think if she continues doing what she's doing now, she'll be a great superhero. She just does need to learn to control her mouth a little bit. But I think that probably will be one of the characteristics about her characters. Like when she gets nervous, she jokes and she talks a lot. And it's kind of, we made this comparison to Peter Parker when we discussed episodes 1 and 2. I think it's kind of going to be somewhere around that same type of personality trait or character trait for her, where she talks when she's in trouble, or she talks when she's nervous, or when she's nervous or in danger. But yeah, she's starting to grow on me a little bit. But y'all said she would, so
told you.
She's getting there. She's getting there. So, like I said, she seems to have good instincts about people. And that was apparent from even the first episode. That is one thing I would say about her. She does seem to know how to read people, and
I think she has good instincts in general.
Yeah.
Which is something that you need as a street level superhero. You don't have superpowers. You don't have superpowers. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, There's tons of them.
Yeah.
I mean, the alternative is you have superpowers, like you're an enhanced human like Luke Cage, and you're on the street level.
Yeah.
You just OP all the time, and that's not nice either.
Right.
But she
I
has
mean,
really good
it's nice for the
instincts.
hero.
Yeah, but she has good instincts.
Yeah.
Like with the going into the building with the old guy, and then ditching him at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she
That
has
was
really
funny.
good instincts. That was funny.
That was funny because Clint's like, please don't do this. And I was like, is she about this? She was like, I'm talking on the phone to I'm talking to an Avenger. He's in my ear right now. And I was like, oh, okay. So she's playing like kind of like she's unhinged. So the guy's like, yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna be on this elevator with you. And then that way she can go and do what she has to
Right.
do. She can get off at the floor she needs to go get off at without somebody saying, oh yeah, I remember this girl. She was on such and such floor. Yeah. So like I said, she's growing on me. She's growing on me. So let's see. Two things that I know we want to get to. So Mike, we'll go to you first since we're kind of in that realm already. The conversation with
Okay.
Eleanor and Clint at the elevator. You have some stuff to say about it.
Okay, so I mean, this just irked her. It really makes her seem it kind of messes with the juxtaposition of who's bad between Eleanor and Jack. Like it kind of seems like both of them are, but then there are some moments where it seems like she's way more bad. She's way worse.
Oh,
And
I
she's way
believe
more
it.
of a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So she says they're getting ready to leave and try to go back to Kate and Clint are getting ready to leave and go back to doing what they were doing, and her mother tells her to stay, and she sits down sulking. Then she looks at Clint and she says, "Can I walk you out?" And Clint's like, "Oh, I guess that's my cue. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll go now." And he looks and he's already eyed the Ronin sword, like sitting over there. He's like, "I'll get my coat." So he goes over there and surreptitiously snags the sword. So then they get to the elevator. She presses the door, the elevator in their house, and then she says, "Let me clarify." He says, "Yeah." Says she is not a superhero. He's like, "Oh yeah, come on, I already knew that. She's pretty good and all that." But then she says, "Natasha Romanoff was pretty damn good at it too, wasn't she?" I was like, "This." Ooh.
But
Like,
again, that's
really?
going back to my theory. Nobody knows exactly what happened to Natasha. They just all assume that she's dead because she got killed doing whatever. Nobody knows that she like sacrificed herself. But yeah,
Right.
I wonder.
And it's like, she said, being good isn't always enough to keep you alive. He says, "I see." Elevator dings and opens. She says, "Clint?" He says, "Yeah." She's like, "Do you have kids?" There's a pause. She's like, "Yeah, I'm going to assume that you do. It's been a rough week for my family, but I'm letting you know that I cannot lose Kate. I've lost people before. I know in your line of work you have too." And he says, "I understand. Okay." She says, "So you'll forget the case?" And he says, "I can't do that, but what I can do is ensure that your daughter stays safe, okay?" It's like he kind of knew. And then when he gets on the elevator and the doors close, after the doors close, you can see in his eyes, he's like, he still has like those Natasha memories, and he's just like, ugh. I mean, that whole thing, I'm like, this bitch, I swear. Oh, but yeah, I mean, it just pissed me off. Oh, also, I have another theory. So we're sitting there after they get up and go to the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
You see Katie sitting there with crossed arms, and you see Jack sitting there drinking from his mug. Jack's mug has hexes on it.
Wait,
There
what?
are hexagons all over his coffee mug. Mephisto confirmed.
Not,
Jack is Mephisto. Yes.
Not hexagons. No. No.
Oh, but Mike is right. Like the whole coffee cup is hexagons.
Yes. We're all in the hex. This is nothing is as it seems. Mephisto confirmed.
So is he? Does he work for Director Douche?
Exactly. That's
Director
exactly
Dick.
what it means.
Director.
Or he
sorry,
works for
Director
Sword,
Dick.
which
Is there a
wait,
difference?
wait, but that means he works for that can mean he works for Sword, which goes back to me saying that he's a secret agent deep undercover, and that's his watch.
Anthony,
See,
That's
you
too
it's
should
all
have.
circular.
The sword, the sword, the sword guy. Where's the
Hey,
sword?
See, see,
No,
connection.
But
The
you know what?
connections
We'll
there.
give him this because he hasn't said Mephisto confirmed in I think at least 6 episodes.
It's been a minute.
So it's no, because I think you even said, did you even say it when we talked about Shang-Chi? I think you said, did you say, you probably did, but it's been
I'm
a
sure. I'm
while.
sure.
He
So
says
we'll,
it every
so we'll,
Marvel.
yeah,
thing
so
he
we'll
do.
give it to him for now, but no,
Eventually, it has to be true. Eventually, I'm gonna be right. Maybe I have to wait till Morbius. Maybe Morbius and Mephisto will be in there.
I do not think Jack is in. I mean, he just doesn't strike me as the type. I mean, he reminds me of what is this character's name that I'm thinking of? Oh my goodness.
I can't read your mind.
I'm trying to think. Who was the little villain from the oh gosh. I don't even know what I'm trying. I'll think of it when I'm not trying to think of it. But he reminds me of an old cartoon villain from like a cartoon I watched when I was a kid. I want to say either Hong
Savoir
Kong
faire. I
Phooey
would.
or yeah, maybe yeah. I think you mentioned that too, but
Savoir faire.
Savoir faire. He's
yeah,
everywhere.
but you know, it's funny because I don't want to agree with Mike and be like, yeah, Mephisto confirmed.
Yes, you do. Go.
But the funny thing is, and I mentioned this when we were talking about Wheel of Time on yesterday, it's funny because the camera chooses certain things to focus on. And like as Eleanor is walking past him, very clearly in the camera is his coffee cup with all the hexagons. And I don't know, it looks like bees in the middle of the hexagons. So I guess it's supposed to be like a honeycomb. But I'm like, okay, but what if? But no, we don't want to go down that road because then Michael is going to add theories to his theories and then theories to the theories to the theories. So yeah, we just.
That's right. I damn sure am.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Eleanor Bishop deserved to get punched in the face for those comments. I mean, I get it. She's worried about protecting her daughter, supposedly, whatever. But again, the way that she and Jack were looking at each other when Kate and Clint were having the conversations, I felt like they were kind of communicating silently, like there's a secret that only they know about. And it has to do like the fact that Kate has befriended kind of sort of her childhood hero who happens to be an Avenger, and he's sitting in our house. It was just one of those things. And then when Jack went oh, and by the way, thank you for saving the world. I was like, yeah, something's shading with your ass. Because it was the way that he said it. He didn't say it like the waiter at the restaurant. He said it very facetiously. Like he was just like, oh, yes. And by the way, thank you for saving the world. And he did that little look, that little patronizing look. I was like, yeah.
No, but
I don't trust him. Something is not right about him.
I think. I think they know each. That's what made me kind of think they still think that maybe they know each other. Like maybe I'm getting that feeling. I just feel it like in my bones that they know each other, and that maybe that they were like highly competitive with each other, and that it got contentious sometimes, and that he was like, "What are you gonna do with your bow and arrow? What are you gonna do with your sword?"
See, now that's gonna make me go back and rewatch this scene in a whole different light now. Because even when they start and she's like, so Kate is helping you, and Eleanor was looking like, oh, and he was like, that's awesome, or that's good, or whatever it was he said. And then now that you're saying that, Mike, I'm like, wait, so was he? I don't want to go down that road. I don't. But Mike's making me think it like, I wonder.
Don't fall into the trap.
Come on to the dark side. We have theories.
She's thinking real hard.
Because I'm looking at it in the background now, and I'm just kind of like, Am I supposed to see something? I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch it.
I'm sorry,
when we're
hold
not
on.
talking about it.
Resistance is futile. You will be assimilated.
Okay, now we have to go to the LARPing part because Lori has some things to say about it. Lori, what do you want to say about the LARPers?
Okay. First of all, let me just say that I appreciate anyone who is into any type of geekdom. I appreciate the comic book nerds, the sci-fi nerds, the fantasy nerds, the nerds that like to build and paint miniatures. But the lowest, the nerdiest, the I live in my mom's basement, I will not get a date ever. And if I do, it's my fellow LARPer. LARPers stands for live action role playing, and they are the nerds. The other nerds basically take one look and stand 10 feet apart, and they kind of look at the side, pretend they don't know them.
I don't
Okay.
think it's true.
Oh, I'm being honest here. Trust me. This is experience. Okay.
That sounds like such a snobbish way to talk about other nerds. That's
Okay.
like,
Okay. Okay.
I mean, your picture's not on, but I can see your nose up in the air.
No. I have a point. Okay. When I say that there are a group of nerds that are so disconnected. Okay, here's a classic example. I used to work with a guy who was live action, who was a LARP, and he was also the anime. And when he would come to work, mind you, the first thing he did every shift was remove the clock from the wall and put up his Sailor Moon clock. It would not work until the Sailor Moon clock was on the wall. Okay, I have another friend like that girl in the documentary who wore her Star Trek uniform to work every single day. The people who are LARPers are creative, they're beautiful, but they are the nerdiest of the nerds. And I have been around them in and out over my life. And I think that by having them in the show is really interesting because you can be a cosplayer and you can do this and that, but unless you're in the life and you live the life and you are a LARPer, you wouldn't appreciate or know LARPer the joke that because these people, when I say they're in, they are in. Okay. In fact, they won't even answer to their real name in real life. That you have to call them by their guild name, or they won't even answer you. So, that being said, I think it is absolutely hysterical, and I absolutely love it that the LARPers are in there and they help Hawkeye. But yeah, if you're a LARPer, and by the way, no offense if I've made anyone mad, but LARPers are the nerds of the nerds.
The opinions expressed are not those of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast Incorporated or Mike, Anthony, or Hanako. Please forward all your hate mail to Lori Thomas in San Jose, California. Thank you.
I'm just saying.
You're muted.
I think LARPers are the pride and joy of the community.
Obviously,
best
you
of the
guys
best,
haven't
cream of the creme de la creme.
Have you you guys personal LARPers?
It's like, yeah, I know one. There's the cosplayers, which I always aspire to be, and then there's the LARPers, people who truly express their fandom in such an awesome way. I think
their commitment to their characters is like,
and I don't mean that in any condescending way. I think it takes a lot
for real
to put yourself out like that and to be that way. And
look,
I think
I can barely concentrate on being myself day to day, much less any other character.
Look, if you refuse to answer to your government name at work, there's a problem. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, look, to each their own. It's just like the great Nika Costa said, everybody's got their something. Let them have their thing and let them be who they're going to be, okay?
Did you say Nika?
We have did the whole range of references in this show today.
Nika Costa, come on, just like one of the most underrated singers ever. Get out of here.
No, but I was like, okay, you.
Wow.
I was not expecting.
This is a great episode. Yeah. I was expecting it to have as much fun as I'm having this episode.
I think we're gonna have to start tallying. Like, I think we talked about this when we first started doing this podcast last year. We're gonna have to start tallying who makes the most pop culture references during the episode.
I win.
You probably would.
You probably, but I'm just saying that LARPers are special people. That's all I'm gonna say.
They're very special people.
They're special people, and not necessarily in a good way.
Again,
The
y'all
opinions
can come
expressed.
after Lori because I have no issues with the LARPers. Yeah, there are some people who like you're saying, I think take it to extreme, but isn't that true with anything? Like you have your sports fanatics who will take things to that kind of level. You have,
Yeah.
because truthfully, being a sports fan, that's just another type of fandom on a different, different
Exactly. I mean,
genre.
you have
So
fans that'll buy tons of plastic figures of different sizes and shapes and put them on bookshelves and display them proudly and not, have. Oh,
I think
look.
he's referencing me. For those of you who are only listening to the show, I am gesturing to my office because he's talking about my very proudly displayed Funko collection.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
But yeah, seriously, it's
you
like,
can't
I
see
mean,
me. You can't see my 85 something Funkos that I have on the shelf to the left of me. So yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I think, but it's like, the LARPers came through. Your boy Grills came through, and
Now
it's
that
like,
part, it was. I'm not saying that they weren't good. They're not good in the story. I just think it's absolutely hysterical that they threw. Because I was watching it really early this morning, and Mark comes out of the bathroom and he's looking at the TV and he's going, "The LARPers came back." I go, "Yes, they are in another episode."
And then not only that, so Kate she just goes up to them in the park and finds the one that's the cop. And she was like, yeah, we just need you to help us with like some evidence tampering because Hawkeye's stuff is in the precinct. And she was like, yeah, I can help you, but you're gonna have to do something for us. And then when she comes and she has his arrows, but she has them in her bag, and he tries to say, she was like, this is my bag. You don't have your own bag? And he's like, no. She was like, my wife gave me this bag. It said, what did it say?
Bombshell.
Bombshell on it. And
I was rolling on the couch. I was
I was
laughing so hard. It was awesome.
And the bad thing is, I've had almost a similar conversation with the LARPer about their bag. So that.
She was like, excuse me, this is my bag that my wife gave me. Did your wife not give you a bag to keep your own?
Again, I've had that actual conversation slightly different with the LARPer.
That was hilarious. And then the other one who was sitting there fitting Kate for stuff, and she was like, oh, I made this vest I made this vest, it's handmade. I stitched it by hand. And Kate was like, hey, can you do it? I was like, now, this is going to be funny. I have a feeling this is not the last we've seen of the LARPers.
I'm fully certain that they're going to give Hawkeye his comic book original costume.
Yes.
I'm almost certain.
We're going to see them
That's
again.
not a theory. It's not a theory, Mike. Put your hand down.
Okay, so actually, I had to look it up because it sounds like product play, sounds like character placement all over the place. Wendy Conrad, the character's name, is actually a character with the current alias of Bombshell. She's on Earth 616.
Oh.
But she's a villain. She's a thief. She's a professional criminal and juggler.
Oh, that's funny because she's a cop in this
and
one.
she's a Hawkeye villain.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he loses the bag.
Oh, that's
exactly, and it turns
she
her to a life of
evidence
crime.
out of the evidence locker.
And she gets fired, and she's like,
and she loses
it's all his fault.
It's all his fault and all that stuff. So, quick last LARP reference. If anyone wants to understand the type of nerddom I'm talking about, check out Kinzer and Company's wonderful magazine, Knights of the Dinner Table. They've been running since 1999, and they just published volume 70 of their Bundles of Trouble, which is their comic strip about LARPers and D&Ders. So yeah, that's what it reminds me of. It's perfect. If you've ever read it, there's Bob and there's a Brian in this group. That's all I'm saying.
So this is the person who is talking about how extremely nerdy LARPers are, but she actually knows the magazine that talks about how extremely nerdy they are.
And see that.
Kettle.
And I subscribe to the magazine too. No, it's fun. But what I'm saying is I just laugh because you don't normally see detailed groups of your nerddom on TV. So I just thought it was cute.
That's funny. Yeah, pot, meat, kettle.
It's a gaming magazine.
Oh
no, go ahead and try to justify it. That's fine.
No, I'm not.
I think we touched pretty much everything on this.
Oh, I'm sorry, Hunter.
No, I was just saying I think we've touched pretty much everything in this episode.
We're gonna touch it with him pressuring Kazi to talk to Echo.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So, and it's so funny because now I've so if you don't already give the Marvelous Madams podcast a listen, because they are hilarious, but they have taken to calling Kazi I think it's Kit Schmerington or something like
Schmerington,
that.
I totally see it.
Yes, he totally
I
is.
totally see it. I'm like, why does he look so familiar? He is like on the cusp of something. I can't put my finger on it.
Did she
And
call
that
him
right
John
there is
No?
perfect.
Well,
Oh.
yeah, apparently Madam Amy calls him John No or something like that. But I don't know. I
This
heard
is
it.
brilliant.
I was listening to one of their episodes yesterday in the car ride home, and she said that, and I fell out in the car. I was like, because I didn't want to say that he was kind of
really
like a
does.
great value Kit Harington.
Oh, jeez, great value.
I was trying not to say it because I'm not trying to disparage the actor. The actor is really cute, but there is like a similarity there. And you know, people do this all the time. They'll have like an actor that plays someone that's similar, or they look similar, and one will just be it, because Kit Harington was the quote unquote original one. That's why I say that, because you always have your name brand and then you have your store brand. So I'm not meaning that in a disrespectful way, but it is so funny because I looked at him, and then when I heard that yesterday, that's all I could think of when I was watching this episode. It was like, why are you threatening him like this? He knows nothing. He's just like,
Oh, shit.
So now I'm gonna expect Clint to say, you know nothing. From now on. You're just a doormat.
Oh,
That
God.
scene has a whole different meaning now.
Oh,
Oh, also, someone was trying to tell me that, you know how Mike was saying that was a young Luke Cage, that the kid he threw was a young Kazi.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, the little kid was the little Kazi.
oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. Huh.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
have
was
to
like,
look
wait.
at it. Yeah,
I was
it
like,
wasn't no-
at first I thought it was like, wait, you're saying the big black kid was Kazi? I was like, that's a big transformation. Hold on a second.
No.
I don't think that's right.
No, the kid that he was
No,
fighting,
the kid that he threw,
that Echo
Luke
was
Cage.
looking at. Yeah,
Yeah, I heard
Luke
that. I heard
Cage,
that too, and it makes sense. I mean, you know, they've known each other since yay high.
Okay, I will go back and check out one last point on my end is, once again, the credits, the opening credits, that was from a comic book font, comic book cover, that logo. So each week they're doing a different Hawkeye comic book cover.
That's pretty dope.
I have to say it again. The opening and closing sequences, the animation in it, just gorgeous. I love it. And you know, usually I don't watch the end sequences, not too much, because by that point I'm like, okay, let me make sure. Oh, end credit scene, no, okay. So, and I'll start doing stuff while I'm listening to it in the background. But tonight I actually just sat and like really watched it, and I just felt like I was like a kid on Saturday morning watching cartoons. It was really cute. It was very detailed for it to be, you know, the animated, and like, you don't see the faces of the characters, but you can tell what they're doing. And it's almost like I feel like I need to go back and watch them, because I feel like there's stuff happening in those opening and closing credit scenes in the animation that pertains to the show, but is not included in the show. And I was like, I need to go back and pay attention to that, because there might be, look, I'm gonna be like Mike now, there might be some clues in the closing credits that, you know, that point to Mephisto over here. And but yeah,
I am Theoreticus of Borg. Will be assimilated.
it's okay,
No.
Anthony. It's okay.
No.
It's okay.
No.
It's okay. Oh goodness, we only have 2 episodes left.
It went fast.
Crazy.
It is like,
I know.
Like, we're gonna be wrapped with this before Christmas.
It's crazy.
We're getting
I
down to the end.
I feel like I need at least 2 more episodes of this.
What's the next thing after this?
You mean as far as Disney Plus or just
Yeah.
in general?
They don't have anything coming
That's
out.
a good question.
Not from Marvel, I don't think.
TV wise, I'm not sure. I know
TV-wise.
we have. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think we have anything show wise.
We'll have that information on the next episode, because I really hadn't thought about it. Like, okay, yeah, what are we gonna have to?
Well, no, because in 2 days the Expanse final season comes out, and Star Trek
Oh, we got
Discovery is
Book of
in its
Boba.
fourth
No,
episode.
no,
Book of
he's
Boba Fett's
talking
No, we're
about
talking about Marvel.
no, he's talking specifically about what's coming out next, Marvel wise. Like,
Isn't it She-Hulk? Isn't it She-Hulk? It's either She-Hulk or Miss Marvel.
Miss
I
Marvel.
think it might be She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. So I'll look that up, and we'll have that information when we discuss episode 5. But yeah, because and I really hadn't thought about what else is coming out next, because we know Spider-Man is coming out next week.
Witcher's coming out next week. Witcher, sorry.
Yeah, but we're still talking about Marvel stuff.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, so I think right now I'm focused on the Spider-Man thing, because I'm actually actively trying to avoid spoilers at this point, because people keep saying, oh, there's another trailer and they showing this. I'm not looking at anything else. I'm not looking at anything else, because with the Spider-Man stuff now, Lori, what you were saying when we were talking off camera during our technical difficulties, you were talking about people who are complaining about them putting out too many trailers, because they're giving away most of the movie. Now, I will say this in regards to Spider-Man. I don't feel like they're telling us the whole movie, but I feel like they're telling us a whole lot.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah,
because I think for some of these villains, and I do realize what they're trying to do is they're probably trying to pull people who are fans of all the franchises, because there are some people that I know, like my daughter, for one. My daughter watched the original trilogy with Tobey Maguire. She absolutely loves the movies with Andrew Garfield, because she's a huge Andrew Garfield fan. She has not watched any of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. Okay. So I know that there are people like me. I've watched the first set. I've not watched the set with Andrew Garfield, because like I said, I kind of felt like he's a little too old to be playing Peter Parker. So I just never watched it because of that. And then, of course, I'm a huge fan of the Tom Holland films. So I think with them releasing the different villains that are being pulled from all of these franchises, they're trying to pull in all of the collective fans, which I understand. You know, Spider-Man has a really, really huge fan base. So I understand that. But at some point, I feel like the fans have been speculating about everything for so long and putting out their theories and doing this and doing that. And like, I just feel like it's gotten to be too much. And I don't want all of the hype around it to pump me up, and then I get to the theater and feel like underwhelmed. I really don't want that to happen. So I've been trying to stay away from everything that's been posting this week, like going on TikTok and seeing some of my favorite creators. I'm like, nope, got to scroll past your page for a minute, because I've gotten to the point where I don't want to hear anything until I go to my premiere on Thursday, or the fan event that we're doing with that I'm going to with MCU Atlanta. They're doing a fan event at, I think it's Phipps Plaza. So I'm trying to stay away from it. And then after that, I'm trying not to focus on anything else, because I think I need to focus, because there's so much going on in the MCU with these shows being announced and these characters and this, that, and other. And I just feel like, okay, at some point, I feel like I need to go back and rewatch the movies and just kind of figure out, okay, this is how this goes, and this is how this goes, and this is where this is going to lead to. It's kind of like all the things that we talk about, but because it's been so long since I've watched most of the main movies, especially the earlier movies, I'm just like, okay, I feel like I need to rewatch everything with fresh eyes to prepare for this next phase of the MCU. just like even when we went to go see Eternals, I was like, wait, there's something in here that's a little familiar. And then I had to go back and rewatch Shang-Chi because I was like, there's something familiar about Shang-Chi that I feel like was referenced in Eternals, as far as the rings and where they may come from. There's just some things that it's kind of one of those things where you watch a movie and you realize that something that's happening in that movie, they referenced like 3 movies ago or 4 movies ago, or something that happened in a Thor movie might have been referenced in a Spider-Man movie, or, just that sort of thing. So I'm just kind of like, I need to go back and rewatch everything and reintroduce myself and look at it with fresh eyes. And don't give me that smile, Anthony. Don't, just let me have my moment. Let me go back and rewatch everything with the bright, fresh eyes of a child and learn things anew and maybe remember some things I may have forgotten.
And
come up with new theories.
When are you gonna watch the current stuff if you're watching all your old stuff?
And get these other podcast episodes edited that I need to get edited and put. I don't know. I need a clone and I need to hit the lottery so I can just sit at home and just do podcasts and be a couch potato all day. That would be like that would be great right now. That would be great right now. So I don't know. Yeah. I'll figure it out. But I do feel like even as much as we talk about the MCU films and the characters, there are some things that I know I've forgotten, because sometimes when we're having conversations, I'm like, wait, did that happen? Oh yeah, that did happen. But again, it's because I may not have watched, I don't think I've watched like Winter Soldier in maybe 2 years, or I haven't watched Iron Man 3 like since I first watched it, or those sorts of things. So I just want to go back and just kind of refresh my mind so that when things start happening in this phase 4, I'm not looking at it like, I know where that's from, or I know what that reference is, but you can't think of it.
That's what YouTube is for.
Right?
Are you just here to suck my joy out? Just whatever. Let me do what I want to do. Anyway, 2 more episodes of Hawkeye. We just got Yelena. Echo is back in the thing. Now here's the question I have. So you guys say that one of Echo's her I guess her power or her ability is that she can mimic what other people do. So it's like whatever somebody does, she can mimic it and also do it. Correct?
Yes, that's one of the things. She's hyper observant. Like she's really good at analyzing and countering things really quickly.
Yeah,
okay.
She's not a mimic per se, but she's very perceptive. So she can look at you, see you do something, and do it better.
Kind of figure out your weakness.
Yeah,
so
that's what she did.
Sort of like Taskmaster. I know. I mentioned this before. I'm talking about the Taskmaster that was in Black Widow.
Let's not talk about
that. I know there was.
Can we not do that again?
No.
I know. I'm just saying.
See, this is the thing. They could have used Echo instead of Taskmaster. They could have made Taskmaster Echo, or not even use Taskmaster, just use Echo instead of bastardizing the Task. See, you got me talking about freaking.
Okay. I'm sorry. Please accept my apology. I didn't mean to do that. I was just trying to get an idea of Echo's abilities, and that just happened to be the one that's closest to it because it's more recent.
It's kind of it's similar, but they're similar. Yeah, they're similar.
Except that she's completely human and able to do this, whereas Taskmaster was enhanced or whatever. I forgot what her name was.
Yeah. In the movie, she was. In real life, Tony Masters was basically he wasn't enhanced. He was like Echo, basically.
Okay.
Like in the comics, yeah. But yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Let's move on because I don't want you focusing on that. I don't want to reintroduce that pain to you. I'm so sorry. Sorry. So let's see. 2 episodes left. Yelena's here. So we know she's got to find out from Clint what happened to her sister. Echo is, I guess she's going after Clint's family, and that I can tell you now that's going to be the wrong thing for her to do. Like, if you guys wanted Clint to stay out of your business, going after his family is the wrong way to accomplish that. And then thinking back on our conversation about Laura earlier, I something tells me Laura can handle herself.
Yeah.
And then we already know that Clint was training Lila in archery before they got blipped. So we don't know how skilled she is, or what she's learned in the 6 months.
Right.
You're
That's
muted,
true.
Anthony. Are you talking to us?
Yeah.
Oh,
I have to.
You have to go. Okay.
Yeah, I have to go.
Bye. Okay.
Bye.
We're gonna wrap up. But
okay. Real quick. Shout out to the Daly's Daiquiri Company for their incredible product placement on
over
Clint's
Clint's
arm
body
and head and legs and all that. I mean, their slogan might as well be Daly's Daiquiris. We soothe your soul and your bruises. I mean, it's like they were just. I was impressed. That was hella product placement, and then they just kept blending and showing off all the pretty colors that they make. I was like,
I know. That's why I was
damn.
like, I need to have some wine while we're talking about this, because now they're making me thirsty.
Yeah, I was like, shit. Now I want a pina colada. Shit.
I know. But let's see. Yeah, like I was saying, something tells me Laura can handle herself.
Yeah, she can.
If our theories about how she and Clint met and whatever her role may be in this, I don't know if she's gonna be like Echo level, but I mean, if she was a part of SHIELD, then she's had some fight training. She's probably had some experience, and she's not gonna be something to scoff at. And then on top of that, you are coming after her children. So yeah, I want to see how that's gonna happen. Here's the thing though. Do not, if y'all are going after Clint's family, do not send the Tracksuit Mafia, or else I'm gonna lose all respect for y'all, because I'm sorry. What I've seen in this show of the Tracksuit Mafia, I am not impressed.
Clint's kids can take the Tracksuit Mafia.
Exactly. So, but I have a feeling they'll probably go after Clint's family, and I don't know, maybe I feel like Elena would help out in that. I don't know, because again, I don't think she's there as part of their agenda. She has her own agenda, and I think she's gonna at least try to keep Clint alive until she finds out what happened to Nat. And then, like I said, after that, who knows? But you said that the introduction of her and Isaiah Bradley and Wicked and Speed, and so we may have another show or movie coming up with them. Maybe they'll announce that after Hawkeye, because I mean they announced Echo like right before Hawkeye premiered.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll get another announcement. We'll see. But
I think I'm pretty sure Echo is probably going to be one of the last post-credit scenes that they have in the show. Like after the final episode, is probably going to be one of their post scenes.
Okay.
That's gonna be dope. I can't wait to see what that show is gonna be like, because that's gonna be crazy.
Her character is very interesting. So yeah, I would love to see. And then, depending on how they play her, like, is she a bad guy that's gonna turn good? Is she a good guy, but she just has this grudge? Like right now, I feel like she's kind of sort of in the middle. Like I don't feel like she's a bad guy, but she does work for a mafia, a gangster, she does work for that type of entity. So technically speaking, she could be considered a bad guy. I don't think she is, but also she's going after the Ronin and she's trying to kill him, which technically speaking would also make her a bad guy. But this is the guy who killed her father, or judging by your theories from the last episode, we think, or she thinks, killed her father. He may not have actually been the one. So there's so many different ways that they can go with that show. I'm really interested to see what they do, but also just to see another show where a deaf person is the central focus of the show. I'm really excited to see that. I love that representation.
And actually that the main hero and not helpless and needing to be saved all the time.
Right. Because I mean, between her and Makari from the Eternals, that is like some amazing representation for the deaf community,
Right.
with them being superheroes or super powered or however you want to call it. So I'm excited to see where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
But again, 2 episodes, they have a lot to cover. They have a lot to do. I don't know if Hawkeye is going to be one of those 1-season shows, because like we said, we thought most of them were. We know Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they're not getting another show or another season, but they are doing a
Cap's
Captain
getting
America
a movie. Yeah.
movie. We do know Loki is coming back for a 2nd season. We know we'll see Wanda in Doctor Strange.
And Agatha Harkness got a spinoff too.
Yeah, so I don't know what they're going to do with this show or what they're going to do with the character. Maybe Clint will actually retire for a change. I mean, think about it. Like I said, he's a little bit older. He's banged up.
Right.
He's damaged his hearing. He's using frozen daiquiri pouches as ice packs, after getting, into a fight. So yeah, maybe it's time for him to retire and pass the bow on, to Kate. And then maybe something will happen with his kids too, because I mean, Lila, for all of her quietness, she's sitting there, she's listening to all these conversations her mom is having with her dad. And we saw in the first episode, she's the one that's kind of empathetic to what he's doing. So maybe she'll become a superhero too and decide, hey, I want to do what dad does,
Yeah, she's definitely precocious, so she knows she's wise beyond her years, that which is there always has to be one kid that's like that. So yeah.
So, okay. Any final thoughts on Hawkeye episode 4?
This is a good one.
I still think
Go
we
ahead.
need to get some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. up in there, but
Yeah, I mean, eventually that'll be nice.
yeah.
I think I'm really looking forward to the next one, because they did the old trope where he's like, we can't do this. No, go home, go away, and she's not going to go away.
Or
she
really? Is, and he's going to realize that he needs her.
Or yeah, he's going to get captured again, and she's going to go after him. Blah blah blah. Yakety schmackety. Yeah. Just get on with it.
But she'll do it. She'll do it a little bit wiser than she was the first time.
Yeah, she's not gonna fall through a skylight again.
Well, yeah, that too. Laura, you got any final thoughts?
No, I'm good.
You good?
You want to just cosplayers now, or you want to just Dungeons and
no.
Dragons people now?
No, I'm a Dungeons and Dragons person. No, it's just you laugh.
Is there any other nerd group you want to marginalize while we're here?
No,
I don't think that was her intent.
What wasn't my intent?
I'm totally messing. Yeah.
Yeah, deep down, I'm right.
I'm just saying.
And on that note, that's it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we have a YouTube channel now. You can find this video on YouTube, along with other videos from past convention appearances and stuff like that. You can listen to the Fandom Hybrid podcast on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time. Bye.